Good afternoon. Once again, I'd like to welcome everyone today as we once again are on our regular Saturday conversations. We're back. We're now back, but still in hybrids, considering that number of our friends would like to still be out there watching through their homes this particular program. But with us here right now at I won't call this a studio, at the meditation center, we have our friends who are here on a face-to-face. So for those who are in Zoom, welcome to all of you. And we're back again with our Saturday program. And those in FB2, please acknowledge your presence by perhaps saying something. And for those also, of course, in Zoom, they will all be identified. We will have them later and acknowledge them. So this afternoon, we have Miss Cora here, who has been with us regularly, unless she goes out of the country or out on an adventure. We also have Pet, we have Inday, Coleman, and of course, we have Duncan. We have people still coming, and I hope that they can really catch up, considering that this is quite a new schedule because we have been doing our regular program then at 5:30, but we thought we should start a little earlier so that we can also go home a little earlier too with our families. So this afternoon is a beautiful afternoon and very special, as we will be discussing on a subject which I guess everyone is concerned of, and that is self-care. And I guess all of us have our own way of taking care of the self. But this afternoon, we will be introduced to something deeper and perhaps practical that we can all take home with us, something different, something meaningful, and something that would be beneficial to all of us. So without further ado, I would like us to welcome our special Cora here. I call her the courageous heart because she's a heart song. So courageous Cora, compassionate Cora, who will do the introduction of our special speaker for this afternoon. Miss Cora? Yeah. You can sit down here, Cora.
Sorry, I was a little bit late. So good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, it is really, hello. So it's always my privilege to, sabi ko nga, kina-career ko na ang introduction of the guest speaker. Anyway, we are privileged to have here with us an educator, a Reiki master, which means she believes, a Reiki, a healing technique that means the touch of the healer can transfer to the energy. The energy of the healer can be transferred to another person, which makes his emotional and physical well-being well through the touch. And she's also an access bar facilitator, a traveler, an educational consultant, and a team leader for Best Buy Realty. She loves to travel. She loves cooking and, of course, eating. Book collecting. She loves to sing, and she's very beautiful. Let us all welcome Dr. Nancy Fuentespina Berame.
Thank you very much, Sister Cora, for that very lavish introduction to all our friends in inner space and also those who are at home watching us through Zoom. My warmest greetings to all of you. And I'm very happy to be back here at the inner space. Thank you, Ma'am Ellen, for the invitation. And I am just overjoyed to share to you the following tips on self-care. So let's start. My dear friends, it would always be better to know what self-care is before I can give you all the tips. Because many times in our lives, we have been taking care a lot of our family members, our loved ones. I myself is a mother, a teacher. I take care of my students. I'm a school owner. But how can I take of others when I don't know how to take care of myself first? What will be left of me? So that's really the point that we're driving at this afternoon. How can we be more productive? How can we maximize our gifts to be able to serve others also? So I have slides here that you can follow through. What is really self-care? Well, this is not my own definition. I got it from the World Health Organization. Next slide, please. So self-care, according to the World Health Organization, is the ability of individuals, us, families, communities, to promote health, prevent disease, maintain health, and to cope with illness and disability with or without the support of a healthcare provider. I know for a fact that all of us experienced lockdown, and we are so scared to go to the doctors. We are so scared to go to the hospitals because a little bit of a cough would already tell us that we will be positive. So in our own little ways, don't you know that we were all doing self-care already in our own little ways during the lockdown? Let's continue. Not only during times of pandemic, but more importantly now, that we need to do self-care. It is so important because we have to be mindful first of our own needs. I believe that's very important. And if we are mindful with our own needs, we will be able to support the people that we care about, the people that we love. Again, I said, I'm a mother of 5 children, 3 boys and 2 girls, and a wife to only 1 husband. So I've got 2 pet dogs and I've got 2 pet cats. I need to be very healthy. I need to care for myself so that I can take care of these important people in my life. And aside from that, when we take care of ourselves also, we will not be stressed. Do you know that cortisol level, this is the stress hormone. If we don't eat at the right time, we don't sleep well, our cortisol level would soar up and we cannot function well. We cannot also meet the needs of others. We have anxiety, panic attacks, insomnia, and a lot more. So let me share to you that there are so many ways on how to do self-care. So others would call it types of self-care. First and foremost, I would like to highlight the physical. I can only give myself as an example because I would like to be true to all of you. I am 51 right now, but I do yoga, restorative yoga, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I also have my Zumba classes, MWF at Noymis Gym. So meaning, I really give time for myself, even for 1 hour, because that's very important. That's non-negotiable for me. That's for the physical. And of course, like I said, very important is our diet, water, because we cannot choose the kind of air that we breathe in, but we have a choice of what kind of food that we eat, we put in our mouth, and the things that we like to drink. We have a choice. The power is in us for the physical. When you talk about emotional, of course, we can always feel different emotions, but we don't let emotions control us. That would be the greatest problem of most people, that they are now controlled by their emotions when they function. So they are jittery. They cannot think well. So they tend to become very emotional. So we need to take care of our emotions. Social, like here, I'm very happy with Inner Space because this is the time that we get to interact with each other. We had a very good conversation a while ago with Brother Duncan, and I like it that we can share experiences and compare notes of what is happening to our jobs right now, what's happening to education, our families, plans for the future. Very important. And this is the heart of self-care, spiritual. Quieting the mind, quieting our spirits, having time to relax and connect to the source. We need that every day in our lives. When you talk about personal self-care, of course, as humans, we have this body that we have. Now, when you talk about personal, it's the way we project ourselves to others, how we carry ourselves, very basic, our hygiene, the way that we, even the psychology of color, the color, the types of clothing. I am a teacher, so most of the time when you see me, I'm always wearing a dress that is below the knees because I would like to be that person that is modest, and I speak for my profession being a teacher. I cannot just go around and wear skimpy shorts because I want to take care. That's self-care. I wear dresses appropriately. And types of self-care, our space. Very important that we declutter because it has been said many times that our environment affects us mentally, emotionally. And when we are in a space wherein we can move freely, there is what we call as good chi, very good ventilation, then that would also be part of our self-care. Finally, we have the last two, financial. According to research recently, I conducted a talk to many child development teachers and workers last March 30 and 31. 90% of my participants said that they are so stressed out because of financial concerns. There are ways on how we can go about it, but let us have this kind of thinking. Shall we exchange ourselves just because we have this concern for money? What is important? Taking care of ourselves, us, this body of ours. Like others would think negatively that this is the end of the world because of these concerns. Please, we can do something about it. There is a problem. There is always a solution. Don't forget that. And finally, our work. Many would tend to immerse themselves in their works day in and day out, bring work at home. But lo and behold, pause muna at times. We need also to balance everything. Now, if we already know the different types of self-care, then we are ready for the different tips. I have shared to you my own ways on how to care physically, but these are just some of the examples. If you have good night's sleep, others would say 8 hours. No, the rule of the thumb right now is that if you feel refreshed having 5 hours of sleep, well and good. You don't have to force yourself to sleep 8 hours if your body would tell you you're good with 5 hours. Ask your body. That is one of the most important things that I learned with body process and access consciousness, that we need to ask our body. Other people would say, I feel sluggish if I just sleep 5 hours, but others would be up and about. Stretching, walking, exercising, and of course, nutrition, doing some yoga. So these are some types of self-care for physical. Then when you talk about emotional, of course, there are a lot of therapies right now. Very importantly for emotional, they say, I would like to go to a counselor. I would like to seek help on stress management. But you know, Filipinos, we are good at this. We can always share to our friends without fee. So this is very common for Filipinos, that we can talk things out. What is it that stresses us most? We can always call a friend. We have our own coping skills. My personal coping skill when times get rough would be to quiet myself. And I really love journaling. I like to write my thoughts because at times there are things that we need to process ourselves before we can share to others. So these are some of the types of self-care for emotional. For social, we can also have like boundaries. We have to feel the energy right now. Very important is the vibration that we need to feel. There are times that if our body would tell us not to go to a certain event, listen to your body, because we can always establish boundaries. We don't have to say, Filipinos as we are, this is culture. We need to say yes, yes, yes all the time. It's okay to say no. It's okay to tell a friend that I will not be available, because very important that you have to be comfortable with the things that you would be doing. For social, we have support system. Now, in a family, we can always consult our loved ones, friends, our significant others. Others would like to have positive affirmations. They get to join groups, have positive inputs, or they call it mantras. You can do that. And then join groups that personally, I like the inner space, and I have another group, Soulscapes. Every first Friday of the month and last Friday of the month, we get to share feelings without, it's free, without judgment, because we need support. It's an all-female mixed, we call it Soulscapes. Then for spiritual, very important, don't forget your me time. Meditation can be one. Of course, we are not advocating one religion here. We have our prayer time. And this is what helped me a lot during the pandemic. Nature. I began to rekindle my love for gardening. I grew my own vegetables because it was like touching the soil, and then breathing in the oxygen at the garden. That's very important. Grounding. And having sacred spaces. Others would call it put up an altar. They call it a sacred space, maybe a certain nook in your bedroom that you can call a sacred space. Maybe you can put important things like your Bible or anything that would make you feel like this is it. This is a place for me that I can relax, I can do meditation or prayer. Personal, I also would like to share to you that for our personal self-care, there are different age aside from hobbies that we can remember, like when you are into arts, arts is a therapy, even cooking. When Sister Cora shared that I love cooking, even simple slicing of the vegetables for me, that's part of my quieting moments. It's part of like therapeutic moment. The moment you slice, you mix, it's like a therapy for me. So if your hobby is into arts or whatever it is, cultivate it. Because for me, it gives me a lot of happy hormones, making our hands work. Very importantly, nurture our creativity. And of course, don't forget our goals also. We have a lot of things to look forward to. Despite the storm, despite Odette, despite the pandemic, we still have a beautiful world that we have. We are so blessed. There are a lot of blessings. And we have to be true to ourselves, remain authentic, and focus on why we are doing things. Like me, as a teacher, why I continue being a teacher for the last 30 years. Because for me, very simple. My passion is teaching and helping children. And for me, that is one thing that I can be very proud of, and that's a legacy that I can leave this world. Now, for space, of course, healthy environment, clean space, that's non-negotiable for all of us. And here, financial. As a mother, we need to have budgeting tips. I know that the salary of a teacher is not that high. But aside from being good at budgeting, I will tell you, there are a lot of tips on how we can save also. Like our electricity bills. We know that we have, high, I think prices are going up. We can always schedule when to switch on, switch off, even our water consumption. It's a matter of reminding our loved ones, even at my own school, because I'm a school owner, there are times that we schedule little tick marks, little reminders that don't forget to switch off when you go out of the room, and what is the time that we switch on. There are so many things that can help us financially, paying bills on time. And also, for me, we always prioritize the essential this time. Not really the wants and the wishes. Don't be, don't be lured by the different social media, the campaigns, advertisements. We know what we need. So we stick to our basic needs. And aside from that, for our work, of course, I work 8 in the morning up to 5. So I know that after 5 o'clock, I don't have to bring my work at home because I need to manage my time being a mother. I still do cooking because I love that. I still do gardening. And we need also to have breaks with our loved ones. So these are some of the tips. Next slide, please. So I would like to narrow down this discussion to this slide wherein not all of us would say that we can really take care of ourselves holistically. But for me, to take care of ourselves, you have to know your own love language. This is according to Dr. Gary Chapman, because other people wouldn't want that. Okay, go to a spa, it's so costly. Go to a beauty parlor, because their love language is not affection, or they don't like physical touch. So remember, to prioritize taking care of yourself, know also your love language. What is it that you really, really like? Are you into physical touch, that you feel good when you are having a massage and you go to a spa? Or even simple skincare routine. Other people can be very vain. So if that makes you feel good and that makes you feel cared, then go, because that's your love language. But others also would like that acts of service is my love language. So I want that I can arrange my room beautifully. I can do cleaning, shopping, or doing groceries. So do it. What I'm trying to tell you is that what makes you feel loved and self-actualized, then go for it. Others would like receiving gifts. Their love language is gifts, tokens. So others would like to have trips, or they say, I would like to buy this little trinkets because I want to reward myself. Go ahead. Just don't go overboard your budget. Others would like quality time. So they have me time. Do that. Or others would like words of affirmation, their love language. So it's okay. It's okay that you will have a corner wherein you can have your mantra, positive self-talk. Or I also do that. I can listen to positive self-talk affirmations to different authors or motivational speakers that I would really like to, to start my day with. So I can have that. Knowing your love language, very important. Don't forget that. And finally, yeah, we're done with the 5 love languages. So tools for self-care. These are our triggers or our signals that when you notice yourself getting burnt out, we need to get up, move, because your body is signaling that something is off. Aches and pains. And aside from that, there are times also that you would like to sleep. Go ahead. Have an extra hour of sleep. Don't force yourself that I have to do this and do that. Listen to your body. And this is also very important. We forget to breathe. The power of breathing. Breathe in and breathe out. And when you breathe in, feel the good chi. When you exhale, all those pent-up emotions, worries, and stress. And ask help. If it feels so heavy already, ask for help. Take off the pressure and remember that we're here to support each other. Visit us at Inner Space. This is a very safe space for all of us. You are all welcome to come over here. And this one, stop pleasing people. Learn to say no. Enough is enough at times. And feel your feelings rather than wearing a mask, pretending to be okay. It's okay to show the real you. You will be loved and you will be accepted for being who you are. And so, for the next slide, you have to remember also that this self-care is not only for us. We can share this to our loved ones, to our children. And we have an in-house doctor already. When we do self-care, this is one thing that I really like to share to all of you, that we have an in-house doctor. Our body already had these 4 doctors that can help us to combat stress and then do away with the stress hormones, cortisol. That's why when we complete a task, when we do self-care activities, and we eat good food, nutritious foods, and we celebrate little wins, here comes our dopamine. The hormone dopamine will now be triggered, will now be energized. So do that. And when you have pets, pets are also stress relievers, because the moment you get to play with your pets, or even hugging or shaking hands with our friends, just sitting beside a good friend, our loved ones, the love hormone oxytocin is also triggered. That's why very important our interactions also. Then finally, the last two, serotonin is a hormone that is the mood stabilizer. How can we hack it? How can we access it? Through meditation and running, of course. Sun exposure, very important. Walk in nature. Others would like to go swimming, cycling. So be under the sun and have that serotonin on the go. And finally, our painkiller hormones, the endorphins. Laughter is the best medicine. So don't forget to laugh. So rather than watching horror movies or action movies, watch comedy shows. And I like this. I have a very special essential oil that if I feel off, this is from the jasmine flower that Mom Ellen Luna gave me. I really saved it because if I don't feel so good, I just put it on my hand and breathe in the jasmine flower and voila. It eases the stress. Yeah. And watch a comedy show. And mind you, our natural endorphin provider, the sikwate that we have. In Bisaya, we call it the tablia, the sikwate. Very good also. And exercising. Sikwate pa more. And finally, remember this, my dear friends. It's okay to make mistakes, to have bad days, to be less than perfect, to do what's best for you, and to be yourself. Give yourself the same care and attention that you give to others. And let's all watch ourselves bloom. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you so much, Nancy. That was a real loaded information, not just information. You're making us think again on how we're doing self-care right now. So before we move on to our question and answer, I would like to ask if we can have a little break with our drops of wisdom. And may we ask our Lady D here to give us that 1 minute drops of wisdom. Once again, welcome back to our regular Saturday program, Conversation. And this afternoon, we have no less than Dr. Nancy Fuentespina Berame. You know, one of the things that must have not been mentioned is she's the most sought after pre-LM educator. And she's been helping a lot of people. It's so hard to get her on this show simply because she's always out of town or else she's out of the country, as she is also now an international speaker on education. So she's also the president of the Advocates of Living Values for a second time. Yes. So she's with Rotary, she's with Zonta. You could see her line of activities. She's really so full. So thank you so much, Dr. Nancy, for giving us this privilege to be with you tonight, this afternoon rather. So at this point, may I ask now our brother Duncan to be with us here on stage so that we can do the question and answer. Brother Duncan?
Thank you, Mom Ellen. And Nancy, excellent talk and very comprehensive, very comprehensive. You covered, I think you covered every aspect of life, really,
Thank you, brother.
in that talk, because you're dealing with, as we all are, we're all dealing with physical and emotional and spiritual needs. So excellent to address all that. I don't think we've got any questions that have come in from Facebook or Zoom. So, but that's all right. It's not so much a question as I'd like to just recap some of the points that made an impact on me. And
Yes,
one of
right.
the first ones was journaling under personal care, was it?
Personal care.
And journaling is interesting because it's a process that I don't do enough, but when I do it, I really enjoy it. And it's that process of being able to get your thoughts out, and interesting things happen. I remember a motivational speaker, a very prominent one, Tony Robbins, who's resourced a lot of self-help and
Yes.
programs and condensed it into what he does these days. But he talked about how when you write something, you make a contract with yourself.
True.
The subconscious mind goes into a process of acknowledging whatever your problem is or your need is or your desire is, and sets up an agreement with you to either make it happen or have it, be expanded. So I found that to be really interesting because journaling can be just a process of end of the day wrapping up.
True.
And is that how you use it?
I use journaling in so many different ways, brother. What I do is I have my day-to-day gratitude journal. Three things in a day that I need to be very thankful for, because what I focus on for that day are the things that are positive rather than write down the things that are negative. This is according to the author Rodna Byrnes in her book, The Magic. She had the trilogy, The Secret, The Magic, and The Power. In The Magic, it talks about the power of gratitude and relating it to journaling, only three things in a day that you can be thankful of. That's one. Another way that I do journaling is that this is very important. I also did a little bit of astrology from friends. Every full moon is the time of releasing. So things that are off that you need to cut off, like what are the habits or what are the things that you don't like to continue, you can write them off and you can even burn it and say bye-bye, ta-ta. Yeah, bye-bye to this one. And during new moon also, like first quarter, new moon, you can also, for the month, you can also write 5 things. What is it that you would like to achieve this month? So that's why I share that we had the group Soulscapes, because that's the time that we get to share even 3 things that you want to achieve for a certain month. That's how I did journaling.
Excellent. Very, very good. I know that journaling and writing things out is a process of externalizing aspects of our awareness. And in India, for instance, when they have a sacrificial fire, it's one of the many things that they end up throwing into the fire is those things that they want to change in their life or want to give up, or things that ail them. Looks like we've got a question that's come
Yes, brother.
from Beyond Inner Space in the Facebook world. And the question is, how can I have self-care with my busy schedule? Okay. Sorry, what is that?
Yeah.
How can I have self-care with my busy schedule?
Yeah, it's okay. I got it.
As okay, so we've qualified. The questionnaire is qualified as a mother,
As a mother,
as a wife,
as a wife,
as a
professional,
professional volunteer, professional community
community volunteer.
volunteer.
Very simple. Self-care, especially personal self-care, brother. Taking an extra minute when you do your daily showers. And this is also part of the energy or vibrational element that I would put in my personal. A little bit of salt that I could put in my water. And this iodized salt, instead of just putting on soap, lingering, feeling, massaging your body and telling your body that, hey, it's okay, you feel good. Extra shampoo, if you use one sachet of that extra sachet of shampoo and conditioner, so have that and feel if you only put a little of you, be very generous to yourself. For me, that is already my self-care. If I'm too busy, I'll do it in the shower. I tell myself, Nancy, you'll have extra minutes. That's it.
So I take it that you're stealing moments away from the busyness to pamper yourself.
Yeah.
And therefore give yourself some energy back
True.
in whatever form that you feel is going to
very
help
simple
you rejuvenate.
for a mother like me.
I mean, you mentioned aromatherapy
True.
earlier before with the essential oils.
Essential oils.
And yes, I love that, and I have practically none, and I miss them.
Yeah.
But all right, moving on. Another question: What is the best way to do self-care? 24/7. Oh, what is the best way to do 7 days a week?
24/7.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. What is the best way to do self-care?
Being awareness. I'll start with awareness. Being aware that you have your own personal needs. I would like to stick with my schedule. If my schedule of waking up is at 6 and I know that I have things to do, then I can schedule that my yoga is 7 o'clock to 8. Then I go to my school. So it's a matter of scheduling. Self-care for me, if it's 11:30 and it's time for me to have my tea, then I'll do it. I'll stick to my schedule because I cannot just finish writing or signing off and then evaluating the lesson plans of my teacher without also taking care of myself. I need to have my tea time, that little tea time of mine. And at times, if it is between 12 to 1, I can sit down on a chair, close my eyes, switch off the lights, conserve electricity for 15 minutes. I'll play healing music with water, piano music, even for 15 minutes. Quiet my mind. And I'm back.
That's really good. So if you've got a 24-hour a day, 7-day a week schedule, you schedule in the breaks.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
Scheduling the breaks.
Yeah, that's really good.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You've highlighted that beautifully. That's really good. You know, I had a thought while you were giving your presentation, because much of what we do to look after ourselves or help ourselves feel better or de-stress is very dependent on our physicality. So, you know, for instance, going for a walk, and if possible in nature, which helps, as your chart showed, produce serotonin, etc.
Yes.
But I had a thought, what about the people who are physically incapacitated?
Yeah.
And are denied access to the many things that able-bodied people take for granted. So, and of course, part of what was in the list was our spiritual and positive affirmation process. You know, I have a friend back in Australia who's suffering with MS, and she used to be multiple sclerosis, which has caused her to lose capacity to the point where she needs a carer, which is a family member. But, you know, I mean, and she used to be a theatre designer and actress and dancer, artist. She has in recent times gotten back into doing art in the limited capacity that she has. She has a mobilized wheelchair, which
Wow.
has been great fun for her. But of course, a big part of that, having been a young person so active, was the shock of her debilitating
True.
disease so young in life. So of course we've all been encouraging her, and she's been on her own journey. She's been seeking solace in you know, changing her view of herself,
True.
spiritually, mentally. That's right. And so this is a very, very big component. And of course, here at Inner Space, we also look at that as to say, well, that is the beginning of it. That's the source of it. That's where everything begins with our thinking, begins with where we put our attention.
Yes.
So, but not to, you know, discount all the other wonderful things. You know, I had the thought while you were describing the various different physical things that you do, and I do too. I love to go for a walk in the morning with the dogs, and you know, I enjoy them, see them.
You have good color.
You know, well, yes,
Yeah.
the sun.
The sun. We've got
I
good
know. I try
color.
not to get too much sun these days because it's very hot during the day. But yes, it begins. I do try to remain mindful that I'm not just going for a walk for the body's sake, that I'm also helping get my mind into gear, into the right space.
Exactly.
Because
Good
it all
job.
begins with that. Oh, and another question has arrived. Another few questions. Okay, so what would be your ideal self-care routine?
My ideal self-care routine as a 51-year-old mother, again, I'll start it with my personal, with my daily, like Philippines is very hot. So with my daily shower, that is already for me part of the self-care. And aside from that, my scheduled breaks, my apple and chamomile tea time, my 15-minute listening to the healing sounds with music, and one of my non-negotiables also would be the time before I go to sleep. That's very important, that I need to be very thankful at the end of the day. Before I go to sleep, of course, we have our nightly rituals, but I will include my journaling that only 3 things that I can be very thankful of for a day. So that's part, aside from the scheduled breaks, aside from my tasks in school, at home, but upon waking up, the breathe work, saying the mantra, I have this every day in every way. I'm getting better and better, healthier and healthier,
Lovely. Yeah.
prettier and prettier, younger and younger, name it. Everything that you would like to have.
That's great. That's lovely. Actually, you reminded me of one of the charts that you had in your talk, and one of the things was service, providing service for others. That can be a great way of caring for yourself, because it's a way of giving back to society or others or someone in need. And And it comes under that gratitude banner, doesn't it?
Yes.
At the end of the day, gratitude, feeling gratitude and thinking about it. Wonderful. I love that. Which area of your life do you feel the most stress?
Again, I would like to mention that by the latest survey I had with the child development teachers and workers, they said it's financial. For me, when I would like to take a look at the different types of self-care, I said it would always be not looking after our own health, the personal, because I know for a fact that when you talk about financial, all of this, well, it can be solved. We can find ways. But when you talk about physical, because I believe, Brother Duncan, that there are two problems that can beset us right now. It can be one problem that can be solved by money and another problem that cannot be solved by money. Many people are dying, they are sick, they have a lot of money, but because they did not take care of themselves so well, that no amount of money can heal them. So for me, the most important thing that I need to do is the personal self-care together with spiritual.
Right, achieving that balance and looking after one's body
Very
in the
important.
best way possible. Yeah, that's wonderful. And yes, you're right. Finances. It is a critical aspect to achieving well-being in life. And of course, it's often one of those things where people will feel that more money will solve problems. Of course,
Not all the time.
no. I mean, sure, we can throw money at problems and, fix something, but not necessarily the inner world.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, lovely. Yeah, I just remember a quote which was came from an American from some decades ago, because aspects of America and Americans suffered greatly with unemployment or lack of funds. And a father said to his son, "Starvation is a great motivator."
Wow.
And they were talking about, it was in the context of being innovative during a depression or a recession. And
Motivator.
yeah, and it stuck with me because I thought, well, yeah, that's right. At the end of the day, you've got to take care of the basics.
Exactly.
Where are we up to in time? I think we're probably ready for it's been a really great session.
Yes. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mum Ellen is asking me, what is my own self-care
Self-care.
routine?
Your own self-care routine, brother.
My self-care routine is, do not try this at home, folks. I'm currently sort of involved in sort of rebuilding a space where we live, and we have our cafe in the Bukit after Typhoon Odette devastated us over a year ago, 18 months ago. And of course, that involves me getting physical with materials and different things in times when I don't have money to hire helpers to come along and do different things. So part of the routine is that I never want to waste time in the day. So if it's too hot to do something outside, I'll try and do something on the computer or online. And if it's if there's daylight hours and the weather's okay, bearable, I will go outside and I'll chip away at the project, the building project, and get aspects. And of course, after a period of time, there's that sense of achievement. This thing got done, that thing got done, this is coming together. So that's a part of my self-care, is to throw myself into the challenge of of welding and digging holes and jackhammering into rock and concreting.
Yeah. That's where your dopamine, all the other hormones,
yeah,
accomplishing
totally.
of task.
But
Yeah.
I don't punish myself with it. I mean,
Yeah.
I call upon the God's angel to be my offsider, and I might go at it for a couple of hours, and I just try and have that conversation, and do the work, and be the karma yogi, as we say.
Yeah.
A yogi in action, and it's great. It's a really great part of it. What's a yogi in action? Well, yogi being someone whose mind is focused on their essential nature and God, and being in action, being active. So you were talking about cutting vegetables
Yes.
and how that made you feel. That's
Calm.
totally a part of the process. It's almost a spiritual act, if not completely a spiritual act, because one, it's food, which is wonderful and important, and you're approaching it in a very yogic like way, where you're being as calm as possible, and the act of how you cut the vegetables
Yeah.
has a biofeedback effect for you,
Yes.
and then your family who eats the food will get that vibration as well.
Exactly.
So that's really great. So, and the other part of my self-care routine is just to enjoy the morning, and enjoy the morning before sunrise, and be quiet, and just be open to, just be open to signals from beyond the universe, so to speak, and find that stillness there, so that the rest of my day and the rest of my inner sense is on purpose. Yeah.
If I may add, being open in access consciousness practice also, the moment I wake up, I can also ask myself, who am I today? What great and grand adventures await me today? And I can also say to myself, all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory.
Lovely. Excellent. Well, thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Mama.
Thank you very, very much. While you were talking there, I was just so amused that, you can really exchange energy in a different way. Very special. Thank you very much, Brother Duncan. Brother Duncan is now a permanent resident of the Philippines. So we would like to congratulate you. Welcome to the family
Welcome.
here.
Welcome to the family.
Yeah. Welcome. You're now a permanent resident. And of course, hindi naman siya permanent resident kasi sa ano lang yun, sa papeles lang yun, because all of us are not permanent residents here.
Yeah.
We're all foreigners.
Yes.
This is not really our home. No. We know that for one. And of course, this was really a very special afternoon because all of us are coming out from this room. I feel invigorated, refreshed, and really ready to
Yes.
spread joy, love, laughter. And of course, Miss Nancy or
Yes.
Dr. Nancy,
Yeah.
you've been an inspiration, and you are really the self-nurturing Nancy that you are. As you nurture other people, we see also how you have been nurturing yourself and nurtured other people beyond. So thank you once
Thank you.
again. And we wish to give you more power with you helping your co-professionals.
Yes. Thank you.
She has this advocacy of helping out daycare workers.
Yes.
And she has been training thousands and thousands of daycare workers. She goes from Apari to Holo. And I was telling her, uban sad ko. Uban ka, Cor?
Yes. We'll bring Brother Duncan and
With
Inday.
Inday.
With Inday.
Yes. It's very
Yes.
interesting. She goes to all the regions, including I think her last stop will be Baguio. Is that right?
Yes.
Mhm. But she's going to Jensen. She's going to Iloilo. She goes to Bohol. She goes to Ormoc. She goes everywhere. So very interesting. I know that her energy could really spread so many, positive things in other people. So let's give her a warm,
Thank
warm
you.
applause. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your energy. Thank you for being an instrument and being a steward for all these things that you have acquired from up above. So thank you being trusted to the number of, siguro you have had thousands and thousands also of children and families that you have helped through your being an educator.
Yes. 30 years of being an educator
So
from
estimated
1992.
kung 30 years, butang na lang nimo sa 100 students per year or even more. Pila na kabuok. And then how you have affected, that's one thing very beautiful about educators. They affect not only the students, they affect the children's parents and even the kasambahays and the dot and the siblings. That's one thing that you really have so much power.
Thank you.
Educators, I really salute you and all those who are there right now watching us. You have a very noble task of changing the world. And when we change the world, or when we change ourselves, we change the world.
Yes.
So your energy is very infectious. And we hope that everyone here right now would be able to really, as I said, bring home that power. So at this point, we would like you to be with us as we have our closing commentary, but we're not yet done, but we'll just have this closing commentary on self-care. Video, please.
It's very easy to meditate using the power of the mind and allowing the mind to flow towards the divine. So I'll speak out my own thoughts in meditation and invite everyone to join me. I let the body sit quietly, and I can feel the body relaxing, my breath becoming deeper, and now I focus on my thoughts. The speed of my thoughts has slowed down, and I focus on the inner being that I am. I am a being of light, shining in the center of the forehead. This body is separate. I, the inner being, am separate. I existed before the body took shape, and I will continue to exist even after the body finishes. No beginning, no end. I, the eternal spirit, And in this awareness of who I truly am, my thoughts focus on the divine, a being of light, the Supreme. From the source of love, the waves of love reach out I absorb these within myself. And the waves of love reach out further and further afield, and the power of love surrounds the world. And the power of God's love heals. Souls have been carrying the burden of sorrow for a long time. And God's love removes the burden and heals the pain. The power of God's love melts the heart so that the heart can forgive and let go. And the soul feels liberation. Holding on to the things of the past has been a burden that I did not realize. And the power of God's love allows me to remove that burden and be able to forgive and become free. God's love touches souls and they continue on their journey, feeling the power of God's company. I hold peace and love, and my thoughts return to the physical dimension. But I carry this experience with me, and this experience impacts my thinking, my speaking, and my doing. Om Shanti.
Thank you very much. That was really a beautiful way of ending our conversations, as it summarizes exactly defining who we really are, who is that self-care, that we are spiritual beings with this physical body.
Yes.
And if we have to do physical exercise, we also do spiritual exercise. And we started at the very first hour of the morning, like you do, when you say good morning to the world, good morning to our beloved Baba, our beloved God, and really taking hold of the universe and saying thank you, that gratefulness. Indeed, it's really a good start. It's like, the exercise of the body we do early morning, and we also do that spiritual exercise
Yes.
at the start of the day. And we also end the day with a lot of thank you for a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
So thank you once again. And as we would close our program, we would first want to have some announcements. And we would like to ask Princess D here for the announcements.
So, good afternoon, everyone. We wish to invite you to our regular midday midweek meditation. This happens every Wednesday, 12:30 to 1. Our April theme is the journey of the soul. And our next month, May theme is My Loving Mother. Thank you.
Okay, my loving mother. This is actually in celebration of Mother's Day. So, my loving mother. Any one of you would like to speak loud your meditation can join us and give your contribution to commentary to inner space. Okay, my loving mother for May, and this month we have the journey of the soul. Okay, we're all pilgrims, we're all journeying, we're all travelers, and it's really beautiful to be journeying with you. Those people who are with us at Zoom and our friends in FB, thank you very much for watching our program today. We are also recorded, and you can always get us through our FB page. And so at this point, we would like to say our goodbyes. But before that, can we have our acknowledgements also, which we will have on our screen? So our acknowledgement goes to, of course, our resource speaker for this afternoon, Dr. Nancy P. Berame. Thank you once again, much appreciation. And for our opening meditation, we had also Sister Patricia, and we had golden drops too, to say thank you to, and also to Sister Janti for our closing meditation. And of course, thank you so much for our viewers, and of course, not to mention our viewers both in Zoom and FB and face-to-face here at Inner Space. Thank you, Duncan Bai, for a beautiful Q&A session that we had. And of course, Sister Cora, who gave us the introduction of the speaker. Thank you. You are making it a career now. The next time, it's still going to be you. And of course, thank you once again to Sister Pet Pet here and Inday, and of course to Our Lady D, who has always been there for all this technology support that we have. Thank you and good afternoon. Okay, bye-bye.